Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Hi.
My God, you're alive.
Dude, this is, it was the week
What's
of,
up, man?
yeah, not great. I'm going to tell you that right now. Dude,
What's up, man?
I don't
Where
want
you been?
dying. I've been dying. Episode 2. This is the one where I cough a lot, but trust me, we're gonna be good. Oh my God, yeah, it was not a good week, like at all, like whatsoever.
I
Like,
should ask this off the rip.
Yeah.
Are you ever going back to MagFest ever again?
yeah, I mean, yeah. The answer is yes. I'm gonna go back to MagFest because I didn't really do anything the last time. I would like to have a MagFest. I'll try again next year, but
Nice.
But Jesus, dude, it was not. Oh my God! Like, I literally went in to MagFest. I was like, you know what? Sometimes I could be a little grumpy because I have to deal with a lot of people, a lot of walking around. I said, but nope. This year's gonna be my year. That's what I said, and I said I was gonna, you know, I was gonna do some things. I was gonna be sociable. I was gonna, you know, be supportive of my partner because, you know, she likes to do a bunch of stuff, and I was gonna do all of these things. And I went, okay, we're in, baby. It's happening. It's gonna happen. So day one, we land. It is like ass cold. Like for this little guy, this little Floridian. Ass cold. I'm talking 10 degrees. It is freezing.
lovely.
Yeah, you think? You fucking think? So yeah, we're gonna rip. The rip is me complaining about MagFest and how terrible that went for me. Yeah. So for me, what ended up happening was that I ultimately decided. Yeah. Hold on. Okay. Now, yeah, I'm recording now a little bit. I just started recording because I forgot to do that because I haven't streamed in freaking forever. So the Patreon's gonna get like a little bit of the audio, beginning audio, and then go into our edit audio. Anyways, let's listen. So I arrived at MagFest. It was freezing. I was fine with it. We flew in. It was fine. It was good. It was a direct flight. Did real good. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm hungry. I want some food. And I was like, well, what's around? And there was, I'm not going to give them a name because they're not going to want me to say their name. There was a Brazilian steakhouse. I don't know if you've ever been to a Brazilian steakhouse before.
Oh, that sounds great.
Brazilian steakhouse always has a special little meal thing where, like, you go, I want all the meat. And essentially what they do is they give you a little red light, green light token, as it were. And so on your table. And so if you have it on green, a bunch of people are just serving you meat. They're just cutting slabs of meat. They'll be like lamb chop, and you're like, yes, please. And they're like, okay. And then they'll be like chicken with bacon wrapped around. You're like, yes, please. And so I was like, yeah, that's where I was at. I was like, give me that, give me all the meat. So we went. We invited a friend. We invited Tom Fox. We invited him out to dinner. Yeah. And I was like, okay. I ordered myself a old fashioned, because that's my test to see if a barkeep's worth their snuff is the quality of the old fashioned they make. I get the old fashioned about 15 minutes later. It was a long wait for a very empty restaurant. Not a good sign. I drink the old fashioned, and old fashions should be a nice little blend of little sweet. You know, it should be able to like cover the alcohol a little bit, maybe a little bit of bitters. I'm just drinking I just taste alcohol, and I'm like, this is a terrible old fashioned. This isn't good. This isn't good. You know. So I went, okay, and then yeah, that's pretty much right. I turned my nose up to it. Nice. Whenever I get a drink or a new drink or anything like that. Masay likes to watch my face. Because apparently I have tells of how I feel about the drink at the time. And I will
That's kind of cute, though.
Yeah. Well, apparently if I don't like something, I scrunch my face up and turn my nose, like unintentionally, not like as a joke, like poo-poo. Like, my face literally contracts a little bit. It goes, I don't want this. This is gross. I don't fucking want this. Yeah. Quite literally. So I drink it, my nose turns up. She goes, you didn't like it. And I'm like, this is not good. This is not a good drink. Whatever. I've got meats and steaks coming. While you're waiting for the meat, by the way, you also get access to like the salad bar, but usually there's a lot more to it. So Brazilian steakhouses have had really good salad bars where they have like lobster, they'll have lobster bisque. They'll have a bunch of like charcuterie all around, all this sort of stuff. Delicious types of breads. I went to their salad bar. It was not good. It had like
God damn it,
black beans and rice and maybe some salads and like some dried up prosciutto. I was like, I don't want anything from here. Well, that's okay. I came here for the steak. And so we sit down. They start serving the meats. I go, ooh, yes, please. They're like, oh, you want this the slice here? I'm like, yes, please. I eat it. It is well done. I don't know what kind of meat guy you are, Crowned. If you
meat.
Yeah, but well, like, how do you like your meat cooked?
Ooh, okay. So it sort of depends on the cut and the place.
Yeah.
If I can't trust a place, I'm gonna get a medium because either they're gonna fuck it up.
Yep.
And it'll be a medium rare. Or they'll do it right, and I still get to enjoy some of the pink.
You still get to enjoy it, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well done. It was overcooked, and I went, okay.
Oh,
I was like,
nice.
All right. And then every piece every piece they gave me was oversalted, overcooked, and I'm just like, and I had to be like, can you give me a rare piece? And they're like, here you go. And I was like, this isn't. I'm just sitting there, and I'm just grumping. Because I was like, I'll buy for the table, and so I bought for everyone, and so $300 dinner check,
gritting my teeth,
shitty food, yeah, exactly, and I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, we're out, we're gone, and so we left.
Goodbye.
And I went, that's okay, because it just because I have all week to eat the best foods around National Harbor, and there's some really good fucking food that I can't wait to sink my teeth into. Next day, I start feeling a sore throat, and I went, all right, that's hey, okay, That's where I was like, okay, hey, you know what? Okay, that's fine. It was a little tickle, but it's probably because of the cold air, because it was also...
That's right, it's cold. Surely it's just that.
It was also very dry. So I was like, maybe. And if not, I can hold it together where, like, because usually when that happens, I usually get like a few days before the sickness will begin to start hitting. So I was like, that's fine, because I can get through with a little tickle in my throat for the next few days. And even if I'm sick on the final day, I still had a MagFest to enjoy. So the next day, I went out to the I pretty much spent all my time over at the lounge area of the National Gaylord Hotel. Well, people watching. Well, that's where it is. It's called the Gaylord. Is where MagFest is. I know.
I see.
I know. I know. So I go to there, hang out at the lounge. I'm hanging out with Tom. I'm hanging out with a bunch of great other folks. I'm hanging out with Basay. We're there all evening. And then I take everyone back to the hotel where I was like, you know what? It's still early on. Let's go back to my hotel. We'll head on over to the restaurant that's there. It's very quiet. I'll buy it for everyone. It's all good. And we did, and we had a great time. It was a lovely day. And I went, awesome. Wonderful. I go to bed. Next day, I'm sick as a dog. It's done. I'm done at that point. I'm like, motherfucker. Not only am I sick as a dog, my joints hurt something fierce. Like,
damn.
I got fever pain. I'm like, yeah, it wasn't good. Meanwhile, our dear friend Juniper was also at MagFest. And I was very excited because I was like, holy shit, I've been DMing Junie for forever now. And I could finally meet one of my players and good friends, Junie. And so the entire time she's like, hey, you want to go grab some lunch, get this? And I'm just like, I can't. I'm just, yeah, that was it. That was exactly it. So what was that? So Thursday was when I hung out. Friday, I'm sick as a dog, fever pains. And I stay in all day Friday by myself. It was a weird, isolated feeling that felt like, not to be dramatic, but it felt like prison. You know what I mean? Where you're like, you go into isolation, or what do you call it? Where you go to the shoe or whatever. It kind of felt like that because I only had, because if you're sick at home, right? I could be like, I can go to my bed, I can go to the living room, I can go to the bathroom, I can go to my office, I can do all these things.
Yeah.
Well, you're sick in a hotel, you've got the room and the bathroom, and that's it. And you're just like, that's it. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna take some medicine. I'm gonna try and sleep. I'm gonna try and sleep this off. I'm gonna sleep it off. So Saturday I wake up, I'm no longer feeling sore. I'm still drained, but I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I'm fine enough. So I rested for the rest of the day until the afternoon, and then I was able to go down to the convention. I was able to meet, I went back to the lounge that I went Thursday because I couldn't really go anywhere else. Got to meet and hang out with Junie, which was nice. Wonderful. I was so happy to finally meet her. And then after we all hung out, I was like, hey, you guys want to grab dinner? I was like, I need to go someplace quiet because I'm drained. So I went back to the same fucking hotel restaurant that I ate Thursday. Halfway through the meal, I went, and I'm done. My energy limits are gone. I built this reserve for several days. I've spent it all in a matter of honor and a matter of hours. I'm going back to bed.
That's kind of crazy, actually.
Yeah. That was, I think, that might have been Saturday. And then Sunday? I don't remember. Yeah, so then I think it was Sunday. Yeah. So Sunday, I just stay in the whole day. That's all I do. I just stayed in the whole day. And then Monday, because it was okay. So Wednesday was shitty steak night. Thursday was the only time I got to hang out with people. Friday, I was locked away because of fever pains. Saturday, I was locked away for most of the day. Got 3 hours of reserve time to hang out with people. Sunday, crashed again. And now Masay is now feeling unwell.
Oh, God.
So now she's in the room with me, and then we just stay in the room all day Sunday. And then Monday we went home. Because
Monday we went home.
Terrible.
Fuck.
Terrible, dude. Absolutely awful.
That sounds insane, actually.
Well, what really sucks is when you're like fighting this, like when you're fighting like a terrible illness, you're like, usually you're just like, I'm just gonna stay in and not do anything and rest. But when you're out of the state, you gotta get home. So like, you can't just.
Correct. You are forced to do things.
You have to move. And so it was. I was like, oh, I just want to. Nope, can't. Like, pack up. We gotta go. Oh. So then,
get me out of here.
So then Monday, we fly out, and this is what's been kind of, not to make light of what recently happened, but what was chilling was we flew out a Monday from Ronald Reagan Airport in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
For those that don't know, a couple days ago, there was a collision between.
Oh, that's right.
From that airport.
I completely forgot about that.
Yep. Yep. And
it was like a commercial aircraft and like a Black Hawk, right?
Yeah. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. But we flew out of that airport days before, and like. I know it's like it's asking a lot, but like there is something a little chilling about that when you're like, ooh, like
yeah,
Jesus, like
a little.
Yeah, so it was. I was just kind of like, oh my god. So it's been weird. It's been a very weird. And so keep in mind, like, we've been isolated and trying to recover. Masay's still recovering. I'm doing okay. We're getting better day by day by day, but like, we haven't talked to anyone online or just anyone. We've just been on the couch or in the bed recovering.
Trying to get some modicum of energy back.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was telling you, it was like, we're not doing D&D. But, I definitely want to have enough energy to do the podcast because we did our first episode, and then I was like, oh yeah, we have MagFest, so episode 2 is going to be a week late. I didn't want to delay it another week. That just felt like that wasn't going to go well for the podcast. So, yeah, it has been a nightmare of the past this past 7-8 days. I don't even know how long I've been. It's been insane.
I'd say it's been longer than a week. So yeah,
it has been.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, because I started feeling sick. No, it's been a week. Oh God, it's been a week. It's only been a week. It feels like so much longer. Jesus. Yeah,
I mean, 2025 has been a year already. We're just barely out of January. So
don't get me started, dude. Don't get me.
Yeah, man. There's everybody's kind of feeling that already. I had that moment on stream where I sat down. I was like, oh, yeah, 2025. What a year, right?
Yeah. No, I'm keeping, bro. I'm telling you, 2025, my year. I'm keeping it positive. Keeping it. I'm moving ahead. I'm doing my best. But there have definitely been some moments where I'm like, okay, so it's been about a month. Cool. Yeah, cool. Great. This is thumbs up. We're doing great, man. It's wonderful. Absolute. Just ugh. So yeah, this is the first time I've actually had a chance to interact or talk at all. So maybe that'll give me. Maybe this podcast day is going to give me the pep in my step, the energy I need, because I was even telling you about how I can't design shit right now for my games and the books.
That brain fog is gnarly.
It's the worst. I would have rather been hacking and coughing, sore throat, shitting my pants, anything else besides this brain fog. This brain fog is it's kind of also terrifying a little bit because you're just like,
oh yeah.
You're just like, there's gonna be a point in my life where I'm not gonna be able to design for games anymore because my brain's gonna just be poo-poo from age, like it's yeah.
No, yeah. I've definitely had those moments. I've had those moments where like my brain fog is so severe that like I hate even just sitting down and watching something because it doesn't feel like my brain is retaining what I'm watching.
Yeah.
So it's just this white static noise that is like overwhelming. And I just have to sit in silence.
Oh, jeez. No. Yeah. That's usually why I when I'm watching something during brain fog, it has to be something with little to no substance whatsoever.
Ooh, see, with me, I found that it has to be something I've already watched.
Yes,
something I already know.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
If it's like a repeat or like something that I've already watched, I'm Gucci. Then I can suddenly like everything locks in.
Yeah.
I'm A-okay.
Well, like for me, like I think it was yesterday because I'm just going through like YouTube shorts and I'm watching a lot of like the Advantress animated shorts that are just so fucking funny. Like those, I think I saw those guys at MagFest, like just at a table. I was like, I think I saw these guys on YouTube before, but I didn't say anything because, you know, I don't want to be a weirdo, you know, where I'm like, hey, what's up? How's it going? Cool. You're the D&D guys, right? Yeah, I do D&D too. Like, I didn't want to do that. Like, I didn't want to be that guy.
I mean, there's something to be said. Like, it's not like you're a nobody, dog. Like, you have like several published books? You are...
One published book. That's the worst.
That's all it takes, dog. Like,
Sorry. I realized... like how like belittling myself that sound like actually, man, one published book, okay. Come on, I'm not that great.
We got one in the pipe already that's fucking cooking.
Yeah, I know.
Firsthand, everybody knows.
But well,
you're not lying to anybody.
No, well, no, that was the reason why I would be like, yeah, I also do that shit. It's really just more of like, it's talking to like YouTubers in general or talking to people in this industry is difficult because there is kind of that like that kind of like that I don't know, like you have a hard time you can have a hard time trusting people in this industry because sometimes some people are climbers and they'll just be like, hey, what's up? How's it going? You know? Yeah. So you want to be genuine. You don't want to be like, I don't want to brag about the shit that I'm doing. I also don't want it to make it look like, hey, so like we should like anytime you just meet someone out of the blue and who's in this, you say, and then if someone goes, we should collab, you're just like, I don't know, man. Like I gotta
see.
Yeah.
I think if you had just gone up and been like, hey, dude, big fan of your stuff. I like your stuff.
Oh,
very
no.
funny.
No, I wasn't going to because literally it was the day before MagFest. We were at the lounge. We were all everyone's just chilling, hanging out. They're going to deal with that all weekend. I'm not going to add to the noise. This was the calm before the storm, as it were. You know what I mean?
I see.
But also, like I said, talking to people are weird. It can be difficult for me at times too. So, and I had all the friends I needed that weekend as well. Like I said, I got to hang out with Juniper for a little bit. It was nice. Wonderful. We wanted to try and hang out more, but you know, death. You know how it is. So I'm hoping. Hold on. Sorry about that. Thank you. I'm hoping
never fall off.
Yeah. I'm hoping next year. Well, okay. So last year, I came home with COVID from MagFest. First time I had COVID, so that was fun. This year, I just died mid-MagFest. So, yeah, when you're asking, am I going to go to MagFest again? I mean, probably.
We're aiming for the Black Plague next time, boys. Let's rock that. Let's get that shit back in circulation.
Bro, like, I'm gonna take all the vitamin C. I'm gonna take the Zicam. I'm gonna take the emergency. I know that shit probably isn't doing anything for me. I don't fucking care. I'm gonna ask my doctor for that military shot that boosts your immune system. You know what I'm talking about? Before you like.
I'm pretty sure I got lined with like 97 shots the first time I joined. They just put you in a line and then go through and stab you repeatedly.
Yeah. I'm gonna get, because I got my actually I'm not gonna add. I got my booster. I got my booster before I went, but I think I'm just gonna need more boosters. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna be like all of it, just everything. I definitely think I should get it. Not the week of, definitely the week before is when I definitely got it like a day or two before. And so part of me is wondering if it was like the booster also being like, hey, smacks you around a little bit. And I'm like,
why didn't you give me time to adjust?
Yeah, I
the shit out of you.
Kind of, so I probably, there are things I could have done differently that next year I will be doing. I might have a hazmat suit this time. I think that'll be good. You know, we'll see how that goes.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, right. I'd love to see that.
Right now, the strategy for me is just I want to go to MagFest without getting, and then go home and not get sick. That's my goal. That's my goal. But right now, like, apparently a bunch of people got sick at MagFest. So, whoopsies.
The thing with cons is I know cons are like a lot of fun, and I've heard great stories. People make amazing friends. They get to finally meet people that they've been hanging out with on the internet for ages, and it's a super wholesome moment. However, I have literally never heard of a person coming back from any of the cons and not getting sick.
Yeah, it's a fucking mixer of plague and illness. It absolutely is. And God, you try so hard. But, you know, I don't know, man. Like, I obviously can't answer one way or another because this week has sucked. Because there is that part of a cold, or a part when you're getting sick, where you're just like, I don't think I'm ever going to recover. I think this is just who I am now.
This is just a part of my being now. I have to get used to this.
I don't remember what it felt like to be healthy. Like it is like
I miss breathing out of both my nostrils. I don't remember what that's like anymore. I'll never take you for granted again. I promise.
I want a clear head again. I want to be able to talk without having to clear my throat. I want to be able to sleep. I just want to be able to sleep.
I want to be able to sleep.
It is. I don't want to. I want to stop taking all this medicine. You know, like I just want to get back to normal. You know, and it was because. You know, and we discussed this a little bit during my delirium and my fever pains. I would just be sitting in the shower and just thinking of systems and settings for like the next phase. And my brain was like, don't worry, babe, I got you. And then it would just take me on this journey. And I'm like, whoa. And then like,
come with me.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what it was. And then I was like, cool, let's do that again. And then my brain fog turned on. It was like, yeah, we're done, man. Again. Yeah. And then I have brain fog and I can't process any of it. And I'm just like, fuck. God damn it. So yeah, that was my week. Did you do anything fun and exciting last week? Did you do anything great?
Well, okay. So, I had I guess I should say, I had a fun moment. We ran our Pathfinder game.
Yeah.
It very much solidified within my heart of hearts.
Yes.
That Pathfinder is the system for me.
That's great.
And out of everyone that I was worried about enjoying the system, Momo was the one who came to me unprompted and said that she loved Pathfinder.
That is seal of approval. That's a seal of approval right there. Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Because while, you know, 1 second.
That's not a gnarly. Was that you breathing in?
No, I had something in the back of my throat that, you know, because you're clearing your throat and it'll just be like, it's like, what the hell? While D&D is just doing whatever the fuck it wants to do, Pathfinder seems to be doing very well for you, which is awesome. And I even told you, like, you know, my community is a D&D community, and it's kind of a little more challenging to be like, hey guys,
that's right. Just time to move.
Yeah, we're moving everything, you know. And I've got a lot of players that are D&D nerds, so we'll definitely stick with the D&D at its core, because there is a lot of things that I believe in Pathfinder and D&D that you can definitely cross things, because D&D is just a lot of like Pathfinder. And, you know, and I do want to talk about this because I really want to hear your thoughts and your feelings and what you like about Pathfinder. But everything I've read so far, I was like, oh yeah, D&D used to do that, and then 5e, and then 5e.
That's all it is.
Yeah, and then 5e came around, and like especially with 2024, everything is just a simplification of itself now, and it's just continuously becoming more simplified to become more accessible. But that also means it's D&D, I think, especially D&D 2024, is about to suffer what we call the WoW syndrome. You know what I'm talking about?
Too big to fail?
No, but that's a good observation. The part where like eventually every class can do everything and nothing feels unique anymore.
Yeah, the homogenization.
Yeah, absolutely. And
that was probably my least favorite part of WoW was suddenly everybody had a gap closer. Suddenly everybody had a CC breaker. Everybody had a CC. It like, because I'm a warrior main in WoW. And my big thing is I do big damage to you. I hurt you. I'm able to lock you down, disarm you. And now suddenly it's like, hey, everybody can disarm. Everybody has a parry. Everybody has a counter. I'm like, oh, so I'm shittier everybody because I have no self-healing like everybody else.
I knew it was over the moment in Dragonflight when, I don't know if this actually did go through, when Retribution Paladins got a closer.
Ooh, they had that back in Legion. They got the Celestial Steed or whatever that they could summon for like a little bit.
No.
Gap closer.
No. Like a charge.
They gave him a charge? What the fuck? Why am I playing Warrior? Never mind. I don't play World of Warcraft anymore. I don't play World of Warcraft. I'm trying to purge all of the lore out of my head that's been in there for fucking a decade now. So. Yep.
I mean, that's if I play WoW, I play Classic. You know.
True and real, honestly.
So by the way, I do want to point this out very briefly because I do want to go back to the Pathfinder since you wrapped up your beginner box game.
It ain't over yet, baby.
Apologies. Okay. I thought it was like a 3-episode thing, but you're saying you're just keep.
No, I don't. So I have learned. Do not put numbers associated with miniseries or games.
Very good.
Because you will set yourself.
Very good.
You won't set yourself up for failure. You'll have players ask you, "Hey, I thought this was going to be a 3-session game, and we're on session 16."
Yeah, Lost Minds Hardcore was originally supposed to be a 4-session game. Whoops.
Ooh.
But so apparently, Season of Discovery is still going on.
Really? It's not over?
No. And the reason why I brought this up, they've entered into the phase 7, I want to say.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
phase 7.
Like,
are they already on AQ and shit like that?
No, I'm sorry. What was like what was the, do you remember when like they would release shit in phases with the levels and stuff? I'm trying to remember. Yeah. So like we did like phase 2 and 3 and all that. That's what we were playing. Yes. Now it's phase 7. They've got some.
Okay.
They got some. Well,
well,
hold up. I think they're releasing a new dungeon.
Oh,
like an actual.
My God, are we getting Classic Plus?
A little. Well, yes and no. They're starting to release content that they didn't have time to release.
Interesting.
AKA the Karazhan Crypts.
Oh, they did say that they were going to do that. I was wondering when they were actually going to put that out.
Yeah. And I'm just like, ooh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of interesting.
That's about as far as I thought about that. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And then immediately clicked off the article.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I was like, I don't got fucking time for that shit. Yeah, but like, yeah, I love. I like WoW Classic. I tried OnlyFans for a little bit and then went, I'm good.
See, I've never really like. I kind of like hardcore. I don't like hardcore in WoW. Mostly because it's not fucking built for it, and you will just get, especially because the classic servers are absolute dog shit.
You'll just get by the server one day.
Yeah, I don't want to be in the middle of a charge pulling like 3 trolls and strangle mail and then get fucking DC'd and come back dead.
Nah, I think for me it's just I'm tired of streamer culture. So like,
oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'm a grumpy old man now. It's just that's what it is, and it's just like, you got the streamer culture especially feels like a very tiered system where like if you're the big dog, then you're gonna have people that are definitely gonna be talking, definitely gonna be like looking up to you or getting you stuff. It just feels like high school, you know what I mean? So I'm just
I mean, yes. So streaming is a popularity contest, which is just what high school was.
Yeah, that's why I've said this several times now. I'm thankful for my Patreon. I'm thankful for
100%
our customers with IO Publishing. We get sales every day on Why Slay Dragons to Be Fishing. I'm thankful that YouTube will occasionally bless one of our shorts, and then YouTube money's really good. Like, I'm thankful for all that, because that means I don't have to be the popular one. I don't have to be that guy.
Dude, I fear the moment that I can't hang out in my own Discord.
Yeah?
Like, I fear that moment that I won't be able to read chat, because I love talking to chat.
Of course.
Chat's like, that's some of my favorite shit to do while I'm streaming.
Yeah.
I watch big streamers, and I watch their chat just be like a barrage of emotes. And you can't really talk to anybody what is that.
You can figure out there are solutions for that. You can definitely figure out solutions. I mean, that's kind of that's why our dumpster delver, we've got a Patreon dumpster delvers Discord. Specific.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, though. I know what you mean, where like you don't want to, you're gonna miss the top. You're afraid you're gonna get to a point where like you'll never be able to talk to you, but you'll always be able to talk to chat. You'll figure that out. There are solutions, is what I'm saying. But before we get on, because there are a couple of topics I did want to talk to you about, including a little bit of gnome lore, which I know people were asking about before, so we're definitely going to talk about that this time. For those that are here, welcome to Dumpster Delvers. I want to let you guys know we do have a Patreon that you guys could join, and thank you to everyone who joined our Patreon on session 1. I was very surprised at the number of people who joined. Thank you again for that. You guys can check out our Patreon and !DD, patreon.com/dumpsterdelvers. We will be posting ad-free MP3s of our sessions up there. We also post behind, we're going to be posting some behind-the-scenes stuff a little later on once we get crowned a phone number as well as a webcam, like after the show. And we're just gonna have a bunch of other stuff, potential AMAs. We have a Discord that is Patreon, locked behind the Patreon, where you guys can actually request topics. Once we continue to grow on that, we'll even start maybe doing things where we'll ask our audience for stories and things like that we can read about here, because I really would love to get our audience involved as well.
That'd be fun.
In some of the discussion. Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, I definitely wanted to let you guys know about that, so you guys can check that out. And then we also have, of course, our Dumpster Delvers YouTube, youtube.com/@dumpsterdelvers. We uploaded the first episode there, and we'll be doing weekly uploads where you guys will be able to watch that as well. And then eventually we'll be on Spotify and all the Patreon apps and everything, all the podcast apps and everything. But yeah, I personally, and Crown as well, want to thank our patrons from joining, because that was a pleasant surprise. That was absolutely a lovely surprise. So thank you again.
I always do it to myself too, where I'm like, nobody's gonna want to watch this. That's been my whole streaming career, by the way, is nobody's gonna want to watch this, and then people watch it and I go,
nice. Very cool. This will be for our YouTube audience. This episode and our next episode will be up on we'll be streaming from World of IO, and then if we're I mean, we are going to continue this. We'll probably start streaming from our YouTube channel, Dumpster Delvers. And then, once we get Crown to Phone, which we're currently working on actively, we can then do dual streams on both Crown's channel and my channel. So, yes. So, but we're working on that. We're getting there. So that is that's our ad read. Our today's stream is sponsored by the Dumpster Delvers Patreon. Thank you guys so much for your support.
Oh, you lovely folks.
All you wonderful people. So, Crown. Before we talk Pathfinder, because I really do want to talk about this, because I want to know what you liked about Pathfinder that you wish D&D was doing, you know, so then I can steal that and then put that in IO. But also, people were a little disappointed last episode because we didn't get the chance to talk about your hatred of gnomes.
Correct.
So I want to give you the floor because I think this is going to be a wonderful conversation of why, because I genuinely, like, obviously, like, we meme about it, but I do feel like there is like a good, like there is a solid reason behind it, and I really want to dig into that. You know what I mean?
Ooh. I mean, you're giving me a lot of credit. First off,
I mean, we've briefly talked about it, and it made sense. But I kind of want to like give you the floor to bring it up. You know?
All right.
Yeah.
So, I'll say the year is 2011.
You realize there was a story.
I am a wee lad in my sophomore year of high school. I've had a computer for a while now, and I am living with my friend. I've moved out of my parents' house and I'm living with my friend, and I'm indoctrinated and introduced into the world of Warcraft.
Okay.
I initially, when playing on my own, play Alliance. Human Paladin, Fox will always be 10 out of 10. But I eventually get persuaded, as is the rest of the house, because the rest of the house is Horde. So now I am Horde. And I eventually start finding out about PvP. PvP's super cool. There is a gnome mage. I remember his name. I'm not going to dox him.
Okay.
Whom we start having a friendly rivalry on Tolbarad.
Okay.
Tolbarad is a PvP exclusive zone in Cataclysm. I've eventually made like a undead warlock. We're battling it out. We're having this back and forth. And I'm like, I feel completely fine fighting this guy. No hatred yet. My hatred forms in the form of a gnome. I think it was a gnome rogue. Who would constantly interrupt our 1v1s, because we would find secluded corners of Tolbarad to fucking fight each other. And this gnome rogue would come in and he would interrupt our fight, and I slowly started to seethe. Slowly started to dislike this, and it got to the point where when I started playing Alliance, and I eventually started making my own characters on Alliance and stuff like that, I was reading gnome lore to better foster my hatred for them.
I see.
Because I found out that gnomes in World of Warcraft are fucking losers. They built their awesome super city of Nomeragon and then lost it. They basically nuked themselves with giga radiation.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, you're such a failure that you don't even have a home anymore. And I started letting that seep into my interactions with people, where I was reading and getting a better understanding of gnomes so I could hate them better. So they had no way to refute my points. And then I started realizing that the gnome trope is everywhere. And by gnome trope, I mean small, insignificant, tiny creature who is smart, and that is their only fucking redeeming quality, is that they are tiny and therefore giga-brained. They make all of the machines, they make all of the tinkering, what have you. They do all of this shit. That's their only thing that allows them to survive in a society with 10-foot-tall taurens that literally would just crush them to death. And I started seeing it in other games. I started seeing the small genius trope in every game I played. World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, when I started playing Guild Wars for a little bit, Final Fantasy XIV in the form of the Lalafell, and then I realized it's the same fucking thing in the TTRPG space. And that just sort of further cemented my hatred for these tiny, repugnant little creatures who are in every single game, because their only contribution to society is I'm smart, I'm better than you, and I build your roads, I build your cars, your technology. So I have gone so far as to literally remove them from my setting.
Jesus.
I dislike them so much that I have removed that player option from my setting entirely. Now, mind you, it's not that I hate small creatures. I have like mouse folk and goblins and kobolds. I think those guys are great. I love those guys. It's just something about gnomes. And it almost passed on to halflings as well.
Okay.
Because I think they're called it starts with like a K. They're from like Dragonlance or something like that. Their whole shtick is that they fucking steal from you.
Kender. Yeah.
Kender. The Kender, I was this I'm like, my fingers are touching. I wish you could see the pressure I am applying between my index and thumb. I was this close to just straight up removing halflings. And in a sense, I kind of did. I made them mouse folk in my setting. If you want to play a halfling, you're playing a mouse folk.
You're a fucking mouse.
You have all the same attributes as a halfling. You love living in holes in the ground.
Jesus.
You have a big sense of community. You love eating food. You're just a mouse instead of.
What a journey. What a lovely, strange journey you had been on. All because some fucking gnome rogue wouldn't leave you alone.
Correct.
That's fucked.
And it wasn't even that like he can't be. He was dog shit at the game.
He was wasting your time.
He was interrupting my 1v1, which made me upset because I'm like, I'm having fun fucking fighting this dude, and you constantly keep coming in and fighting me. So I'm like,
and you're just
to the point.
You're literally you're literally just imagining like this gnome rogue that you're killing over and over keeps coming back to you and just being like, yeah, that's right, I showed you.
It got to so for those who played World of Warcraft with me, when I did Dragonflight again, I got back into PvP. I started doing arena and stuff. And my friend didn't know this at the time. Sizzle. Sizzle plays a lot of games with me. We're doing arenas, and there is a druid who we're fighting, and this druid is being a complete shithead. They're BMing, they're doing literally everything to basically be an asshole. They're prolonging the fight. Yeah. And I don't like that in arena. I don't like when you just kill me, right? Like release me or kill me, beast.
Don't waste my time. Exactly. Exactly.
And I got so heated, mind you. I don't like getting angry. Right. I find that I'm a pretty reasonable person. Right. And I sort of like grit my teeth in that moment, and I was like, I'm adding you to the fucking list. And Sizzle was like, what the fuck does that mean? And I bust out this list from Cataclysm where if I see you in world PvP, it's on site. I will not let you enjoy the video game anymore until you log off.
Holy shit.
That's what the list means. The list means if you go on my list, I hunt you down, and I will make alts on your realm to find you, type shit.
Wow.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty toxic. I'm thankful that I'm not like that anymore. I let a lot of things slide off my back. A lot of my resentments and rage I felt as a young man have gone away, and I no longer feel those compulsions anymore. But Sizzle got to see a side of that, and I was like,
sorry, man.
That motherfucking gnome rogue was at the top of the list still. Even after all of these years, I had never removed his name.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's my story. I hate gnomes.
Okay, so I was about to be like, I think you don't like. I was about to go in this huge talking point where I was going to be like, you know what? I think what it is you just don't like the stereotype essentially of a tiny smart creature, because it just is. It's exactly what you said. It's just everyone fucking does it. Like everywhere you go, it's the same as like, Goblin is being a little gremlin guy. It's just like we need to break those molds. We need to it's gotta you gotta go outside of the actual like racial stereotype that TTRPGs tend to build up. But no. No, it was just literally a little asshole in World of Warcraft that made you go, I need to learn everything about this because I hate this dog shit rogue player. God damn.
Yeah, I wanted people to understand that my hatred wasn't coming from a shallow place.
Yeah.
That I whenever I was talking shit, I was talking shit with confidence.
Well, I mean, it came from a shallow place, and then you made sure to educate yourself so it didn't sound like it came from a shallow place. Let's be perfectly clear about this, okay? You and I hate this little gnome rogue, and I'm gonna tell people I hate gnomes, and then when they ask me why, I can't say because this dog shit rogue was pissing me off for a few hours. I need to make sure.
They need to understand. I also need to spread that hatred to another person.
Yeah.
So that way another person goes, oh, I get it. And then
that's funny.
They continue it. They perpetuate the cycle. Is it right to do? No. Did that rogue ultimately deserve the probably year-long camping spree that I put him through where he didn't get to enjoy the game anymore? My lawyer told me I can't answer that question. Next question, please.
I've answered that question before, and I had to scrub the record of that answer of everything.
Wherever you are, man, I hope you're playing something else and having a great time. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but if you're still playing that guy, no regrets.
I will reinstall to come kill you, is what I'm saying.
Did you ever see that character again?
I didn't, no. But I assume, hopefully rightly so, that, like I said, the year-long camping spree from Cataclysm into Mista Pandaria taught them to play something else.
So you camped them for a year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That carried on into the new expansion.
Did they ever message you?
No,
okay.
They never accepted my. I think they should have rightly, which they did. They did not accept my battle. Whatever the fuck it's called. The
BattleNet?
The BattleNet friend request.
Yeah.
I'm sure, what would have been fucked is he probably was like a super chill dude.
Yeah.
He's probably like, didn't actually give a shit. Every time I saw him, I was just seething.
He's like, this son of a bitch. Get over here. Get over here.
Yeah. That's a darker side of my history that that I'm thankful is not a part of my life anymore. I'm a better man.
You mean to tell me if you saw that character again, if you were playing WoW randomly for whatever reason, you saw that character again, you would be able to let it go?
Yeah, because I did already with some of the other people that were on my list.
I gotcha.
When I played Dragonflight, I met some of the people on
the list
who were still there after years. And I was able to let bygones be bygones.
That's good.
So I like to imagine that in my wizened state now, because I'm such a humble man, I would let that man live.
You know, if there's one thing I know is when you are a humble man, you gotta let the world know. From the top of the mountain.
How else will they know how humble I am?
Exactly. You gotta let them know. You gotta let them know how fucking humble I am right now. God damn it. How fucking humble.
No, the other thing that has sort of... Okay, so here's the other thing. In TTRPGs as a whole, especially Dungeons & Dragons Faerun, I like Svirfneblin. They are the deep gnomes. They're the rock gnomes.
Right.
Their whole thing isn't about tech or crafting or tinkering. They're all about like gemstones and mining. And they're basically like pseudo dwarves, but they dabble in psionics. And I think that's really neat. I think that's super cool. So Svirfneblin in my setting exists. And having played so much of the world of IO, namely the hardcore games where I have met Gideon Zarkowski and Gorgonzola Zarkowski, and met Scrungle. There are gnomes out there that I am willing to accept into my heart as like my comfort characters and stuff like that. I initially watched Whoops play Scrungle and I was like, oh, he's gonna be
here we go,
like every other fucking gnome, and I'm gonna have to bite my tongue and not say anything. And then he proved me wrong. And I was like, wow, I'm pleasantly surprised. I actually felt bad when Scrungle sacrificed himself to save the rest of the party. I was like, holy shit.
Yep.
Like, that's a gnome I can get behind. Like, that's a guy. Same thing with Gideon. Gideon standing up to Clark and getting his head fucking caved in.
Jesus.
That moment, I was like, you know, when Veldrin says my paladin, that's also me saying my paladin. Like, that, like, Gideon Zarkowski, the undented, will live rent-free in my heart forever.
Yep. Good shit. That's D&D. That's TTRPGs. That's what
That is the magic of TTRPGs.
Yeah, the stories that we tell. Absolutely love that. So, with today might be a bit of a shorter episode because I'm still recovering. But I definitely want to make sure we at least got an hour in. But the next thing I wanted to ask you about, since you've been playing Pathfinder, and if there are people watching, especially considering the fact that we primarily are a homebrew D&D community, what have you enjoyed about Pathfinder? What are some things that you enjoyed, or even some things that Momo enjoyed? Because you mentioned how Momo really liked it. What are some of the highlights that you have there? And then I'm just going to go ahead and get my little notepad out here and just...
I'll tell you right off the rip. I'll tell you this for free. The biggest selling point so far for Pathfinder for me has been the automation of Foundry.
Yes.
I can go into a monster and I could go, this monster is too high level for it is 2 levels higher than my party. I need it to not be. I hit the weak tag on the monster. The monster goes down a level. It is now level appropriate to fight my party. It fits within the calculation.
So you just like that you have an app that essentially is able to change all of that for you.
Not only that, oh my God, brother. Fucking, we were in the middle of stream and chatter came in and was like, hey, you can scale any monster to any level, by the way, and it'll be level appropriate. You could take a level 24 monster and make it level 5. And I went, there's no fucking way. And he's like, there is. Do it like this. You go into this here, and it's literally 2 buttons. You go, you right click, you scale level, you say, I want it to be level 5. It scales all of the numbers down and makes it an appropriate level for that monster. I had to do nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. I took a level 17 Banshee, which is level 17, by the way.
Yeah.
Instead of level 3, Dungeons and Dragons. I take a level 17 Banshee, which is pretty much built the same. It still has your kill you mechanics.
Yeah.
I scaled it to level 5. And all of the numbers, all of the DCs, all of its saving throws, everything was calculated perfectly.
Wow. Wow.
That's my biggest thing. The other thing is I'm a crunchy guy.
Yes.
I love numbers. I like watching my our last episode, our swashbuckler got hit for like 14 points of damage, and he was taking persistent damage. And at the end of your turn, you are bleeding. You have to roll a flat check, which is a DC 15 on the die, to be able to stop the bleeding yourself. And there was a moment where they rolled through a bad guy, which is a maneuver that they can do, because everybody gets maneuvers.
Right.
They roll through. They go to flank with the monk to knock the sharpshooter off guard, and they step into a trap. And they take a ton of damage. They fail their reflex save. And now they're like literally on death's door type deal.
Yeah.
And they're like, I have to not only deal with this persistent damage, but I also have a guy targeting me. And there was a moment where they succeeded their flat check by 1, and they felt this wave of relief wash over them. And then because they were positioned where they had a +1 circumstance bonus to their armor class, and the bolt just barely missed them, and they cheered. And it was this moment that I hadn't felt in Dungeons and Dragons in a long time. And it was something that had been felt like in my earlier games, like when everybody was new to a system. Yeah. And I realized Dungeons and Dragons didn't have that. At least hadn't had that for me for a while.
Yeah. And honestly, that makes a lot of sense because, and I've brought this up before, especially with the new monster manual coming up. And the reviews in pretty much saying that there was not going to be a system description in place on how to build your own creatures, which is, as a home brewer and a third-party developer is incredibly frustrating because that's what made me fall in love with D&D was 3rd edition was not only these rule sets on how to build your own monsters, but these rule sets on how to build your own items, how to do all, you know what I mean? How to do all of these different sort of things, which they've been slowly taking away from 5e. And it's something I should have realized was going to happen sooner than later, because, for the longest time in 5e, items have not had prices, and I don't fucking care what a lead designer says, where it's like, oh, well, the prices have always been there. No, it's not. You've given a price range, and that's lazy.
Very big fucking difference.
Yeah, very lazy. And the only thing that changed in 2024 is you've eliminated the range, and now everything just costs this price. If it's a rare, it's 4,000. If it's uncommon, it's 400. Yeah.
Because 4th edition has actual item prices for their magic items for every level. Is this a level 3 item? It's 680 gold. Is it a level 6 item? It's 1,400 and something. And it's it's that way consistently across the board. Then you go to 5th edition and you're like, all right, how much does a flame tongue greatsword go for? And they're like, I don't know.
They've got in 3rd edition, especially with magic weapons and armor, it had a scaling price depending on all of the enchants that you could put on your weapons and armor had a modifier that you attach to it. And it's not a modifier that you add like damage and stuff like that, even though they had that too. But essentially it was like, hey, is this a, what's a good one? A dancing weapon. If you want to make a weapon dancing, you effectively had to put a +4 modifier to it. And weapons and armor capped at +10, with enhancements capping at +5, which means if you had a +3 dancing weapon, it technically counted as a +7 weapon. And then there was a chart that said +7 weapon, this is how much it costs. So as you added enchantments to it, the price of the item sort of did the scaling metric up.
Pathfinder does that, baby.
I know.
If
Pathfinder
I take a
does that.
bastard sword and I apply cold iron to it, it calculates the price up for me. I don't even need to do shit.
Yeah. But I mean, also the thing which was cool about 3rd edition is that there was an equation to it. So you would take for weapons, for example, a magic weapon's cost was the enhancement squared times 2,000. So you kind of have that like scaling effect to it.
Cool.
Yeah. So so there was math involved in it, and it all made sense, and everything had a price. And we weren't so afraid of the numbers, you know what I mean? But now with D&D 2024 being the way it is, the fact that they're essentially saying, hey, if you want to make a monster, just reskin an existing monster. Feel free to make these adjustments so that they don't change the CR, and then don't touch anything else. I'd been thinking about this, and that's not my D&D. That's not the D&D that I fell in love with. That doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. It just means they're now catering to a different audience.
Well, that's fair. There's wisdom in sort of acknowledging that the system is no longer for you.
That's essentially it, because I am disappointed. It is a little frustrating as we explained last episode. It is a little frustrating to be told by the what was I about to say? It's a little frustrating to be told by a lead designer that the CR tables are incorrect in the 2014 D&D DM's guide.
I will never get over that.
I was okay with it because I thought we were going to be getting a revision this time. And now that we're not, it's just like, well, why the fuck did you say that? But I will say, for those that are building their own creatures, CR's a joke. It doesn't fucking matter. You could make a monster, and you could say this creature is a CR 6, 7, or 8. It could have the same statistics. It doesn't fucking matter. Correct. At the end of the day.
Correct.
So yeah, that's frustrating. But it also means you could still use the 2014 version. You could still make a creature. It will still be balanced for the CR that you give it, as long as you follow those rules. Are there a couple of things that might be not perfect with it? Yeah, but I mean, also the CR system that they built in 5e is already so wishy-washy that and that is frustrating, which is why I'm about to go in with a fucking hammer, and I'm just gonna build my own creature level system in D&D that will be balanced for D&D. That if you build a level 1 creature, it will have the same equivalence as a CR1 creature, which it sucks for me, but whatever. But essentially what I'm going to do, or what I want to do, is I want to build out a monster creation system so that you can make your own monsters in D&D. I'm then going to release it for free on my Patreon. Because fuck you, WotC. I don't know, the fact that you wouldn't add this is frustrating. So, okay, we'll just do it ourselves. And then we'll release it to the community for people that want to make their own monsters. It won't be the same CR system. It won't be the convoluted CR system. It's gonna feel a lot like building a creature in Pathfinder does, where
that's
yeah.
Go on.
No, I was to say where you're gonna have like, okay, if it's got, we've got high, medium, and low hit points, high, medium, and low AC. You can go down the board medium and then build a balanced creature. But if you want like a creature with higher hit points, they would just have lower AC. And yeah, well, I'm just gonna, when my mind fog goes away, I'm just gonna fucking build that. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna build that for people. We'll include it in whatever IO5E we do release one of these days, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, we'll just do it. We'll just fucking do it ourselves, because WotC or the designers for WotC don't really seem to have an interest in giving you the numbers. So we'll give you the numbers.
So I'm equal parts yes.
Yeah.
That there's something the designers are doing, but I also think that their hands might be tied.
Yeah. Maybe.
I think there might be some fuckery happening with the money people who are like, you don't get to release this thing because our shareholders aren't going to make money if you do this thing. So hold on to that.
Yeah, I've definitely done the tinfoil conspiracy of just like, the alternative end to that is hey, we're not going to teach you how to build the tool. We want to be the toolbox that, we want to be the toy box. We're not going to teach you how to build your own toys. We want you to purchase the toys from us. We want to release a series of monster manuals so that if you're looking for more monsters, I don't want you to create your own monster. I want you to buy Monster Manual 2 and then do that. The thing is, you could have it both ways. 3rd edition and 4th edition had it both ways. But we live in a time of greed, of unparalleled greed, I will say, of everything. And that
infinite growth.
That breaks my fucking heart. When you've got announcements of Netflix once again,
oh my god,
raising their prices after a record-breaking profit year. They're like, we just gotta keep going up. We just gotta keep raising the prices up. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, gee, it's frustrating. It's tiring. I hate it.
It is exhausting.
Yeah.
There's something exhausting about like I was to
say, it used to be so veiled. It used to be at least a little bit more hidden.
True.
Now it's just so blatant that they might as well just grab their crotch and be like, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? Idiot.
There's definitely been that moment where like ignorance is very bliss, like younger me not knowing anything about economics or anything like that, like how a number go up, and now I'm sitting here and I watch a company announce quarter record breaking profits or like yearly record breaking profits, and I just sit back and I go, well, okay, nice to know that the price is going to go up again, as it does every year.
Because what are you gonna do? Not get it?
Yep. We're also firing 4,000 people because our CEO needs a bigger win.
Yeah. That's why I decided whatever system when I do finally release a system, I hope we'll have the ability. I would obviously need legal advice, but I would love to have an ORC or no GL or just something. So I could be like, fucking make it like, here's my system, right? And then here is the legal shit that says you could make your own shit with the system and make money. Who fucking cares? I don't care. You know what I mean? Like that's one of the things that I fell in love with the 3E when I found out they were like, yep, we've got a system resource document with almost everything from the 3 books. We've got this license here that says, make your own shit, make money off of it. We won't ask for a dime as long as it references this. You're like, God damn, that's awesome. And it again, because of that, you've got Paizo. Paizo wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for that, and
direct result of that.
Yeah. Well, that was when Paizo was making third-party content for D&D, and then they got...
Yeah, they were doing like Dragon Magazine and shit like that.
Yeah, and then they got greedy with 4E with the GSL, and then Paizo went, nah, we're just going to make 3.75 and call it Pathfinder. And then here we are again, and it's, when they did the OGL bullshit, now we've got Tales of the Valiant. Now we've got Draw Steel. Now we've got Daggerheart. We've got Daggerheart. We've got everyone and their mom trying to make a new system because they've said enough is enough, and I can't. And we talk about this all the time, where I genuinely think Hasbro believes that the D&D brand essentially is too big to fail. 100%. So why would they care? And it is continuously frustrating to see how much how greedy people have companies have become, and how transparent they've become. It's been wild. I'm
still waiting for the outcome of whatever the fuck they're doing with Gaming Global. That's what I want to see the outcome of. I just want to see.
What's that again?
That's the gambling company that Wizards basically allowed to buy massive shares of. Not for Magic the Gathering or anything, strictly Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll wait and see. But I mean, now there is a lot of, myself included, sort of looking around and being like, maybe, maybe it's time to like do our own. Because I definitely have system ideas that I want to write down that I think are going to be really good. But then I also want to make like a 5e version of that, because I know we have a big D20 5e community. The problem is, I like D20, but I've really started to fall in love with the idea of 2D10.
Yeah, dude.
Instead of D20. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the community would back that, because they do love their 20. Look, I'm just saying this right now. This is one of the realizations I came to of like why a 2D10 is better than a D20 is mainly the advantage and disadvantage system. Advantage and disadvantage with a D20, a lot of people feel is too much at times, because if you have advantage, you pretty much are going to hit. If you have disadvantage, you're pretty much going to miss. And with a 2D10, and you do advantage, disadvantage, and you go, okay, advantage, roll 3d10 and take the 2 highest now. Now, the number's a little bit more controlled, and it's not as much of a guarantee. But then you could also do some fun things where, like, if you have advantage from multiple sources, now you have advantage 2 or advantage 3. Now you're rolling 4d10, 5d10, and you're just taking the highest roll of those 2. And that just feels like a more rewarding built-up system. Also, what makes it fun is if you do have a 2d10, you can kind of do these little mini crits where if you roll a 10, something good happens. And then if you roll a 10 on 2d10, like 10 on both of those, something good happens twice as much. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much more... so much more interesting, fun things. With this system, you could bring flanking back, where like, hey, I'm flanking with someone, I get advantage 1, I roll 3d10, but what if I'm flanking with 2 people? Well, now I've got advantage 2. I can roll 4d10. There's just such cool things that you can do about that. You know, that there's so much more. You know, and then bringing back like tumble. I miss tumble. Like with acrobatic checks, I think you can tumble in Pathfinder.
Yes, sir.
Where you can like move through a threatened space or move through a creature if you succeed the roll.
The Swashbuckler's whole thing is sort of built around being able to tumble through a creature and then you knock them off guard, which is a -2 to their AC.
Yep. Yeah, the -2s and things. So I mean, there are definitely ways that you can go about it. You know, that can still feel as accessible as 5e does, but doesn't feel bland. You know what I mean? Or doesn't feel just boring and plain. So there are definitely a lot of, and like I want to do a modular skill system where and that's kind of where
wait. I want to hear this.
Yeah.
Let me use the restroom real quick.
Okay. We'll do a small break, guys.
Excellent.
Yeah, we'll be right back. He's back.
Hello.
He's back from pissing. I
was dying.
I like pointed at you, just like on the screen, like, there he is. Look at that pisser.
I went behind the dumpster. Apologies.
That's okay, man. That's what the fire's there for. Burns the aroma. So, yeah. No, I was gonna say the idea I had was of a modular skill system, essentially, where you can kind of plug and play like the skills that you want, so that if you would like, you know, a future-based game, you can just like replace some of those skills with like driving skills or computer usage skills or stuff like that. I do feel like that you can build a system that works there. But and also, you know, I was seeing some of the chatters. One of these days we'll figure out what the podcast audience is. The dumpies, I don't know.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my god, Lord.
Very aggressive.
Yeah, the dumpies. But the issue with the 2d10 system is off the bat, people want to roll a 1d20. Like people want the 20-sided dice. People want
really.
Yeah. I mean, it's comfortable. You know what I mean? It's just a comfortable, and that's where it's like 2d10 makes sense because it's the same as a d20. But people like the math rock, you know what I mean? People like that 20-sided dice. But the problem with that is, especially when you're doing like an advantage disadvantage system, it's a little trickier. You know, it's a little you can't really do the advantage that you want to do. Crits are very absolute, you know, and that's also the problem with D&D is just everything's just so absolute without balance, and it's tricky. It's kind of a tricky thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy like exploding dice system and stuff like that. I think that's super neat. I always enjoy the idea of like I rolled a 6 on this dice and I get to roll another 6 and I roll again, and it's like, oh, I got another 6 and I get to do that. I'm a big fan of stuff that lets me roll shit other than a d20.
Mm-hmm. So ultimately, it's something that I would have to like play test, essentially. You know what I mean?
You know, honestly, I think the big thing is that you'll probably get 2 groups. You'll probably get one group that is totally down to roll other dice aside from a d20 because they've been playing like a d20 system for so long.
True.
And then you'll get new people who've only just recently got to start rolling their d20 and haven't had like years and years of that same dice.
True. You know, and that's it's what was I? What was I to say? Yeah, it's you kind of have to see what camps are at. If you know, if removing the d20, does that make a system less accessible for people, or should the d20 be kept? And because even then, like even with the d20, I think for me personally, like I love the idea of a 2d10 because of all the different systems you can absolutely apply to it. You kind of have a little bit more control of the crits. You have a little bit more control of the bonuses or the advantages. It's not so absolute where it's like you have advantage, you have to get to roll 2 things. Because advantage and disadvantage is a very easy system, an accessible system, without having to worry about adding all these miscellaneous numbers as you do in like Pathfinder and 4 and 3, where you're like, I get a +2 bonus, I gotta do this, and then you gotta do like a math equation. Which for me and you, and for a lot of people, I'd imagine, it's not a challenging thing. But some people want to minimize that math. You know what I mean? Some people just kind of want to roll a thing, know the outcome, and move on, you know?
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I love Pathfinder right now.
Right.
Because of how easy to use the Foundry module is.
Yeah.
I am not playing in person. I have no idea what playing Pathfinder in person is actually like. So all of the stuff, I even have new macros enabled now that automate it even further. Like it auto rolls your check at the end of your turn to see if you resist your persistent damage or not. I could not imagine having to track all of my homebrew outside of a VTT.
And we've talked about this, and that's sort of like the trickiness, isn't it? Right, where like, or like when you're building a system, you either have to build a system where you establish up front where you know this is a system meant for Foundry, right? Like this is like you need a computer to run this system, like you need some sort of extra peripheral. Or are you building a system that you can play with people and not have to use a computer, and then build Foundry off of that? And so to me it sounds like, you know, the key thing that you're loving about Pathfinder is that you already have a system that kind of like calculates it all for you, so you really don't have to worry too much about the math. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about all that shit. And that would be that'd be something to really think about and consider when you're designing the system. You know, for me personally, I think it's important that a system works both in a virtual tabletop, but can also be played easily in person.
Yeah, I don't. I can already tell. I could see if we were playing in person, I could see some of my players perhaps not enjoying it.
Yeah.
Mind you, for my 5th edition game, I already track everything for them anyway. So bleed, blight, burn, all of your conditions, all the weird, funky homebrew tokens and shit like that I have in my game, I track that. They don't have to track that. But if I was like, okay, here we're playing at the table, and I go, all right, here's your dodge token and here's your crit token, and they go, what the fuck is this? And I go, well, you use that when you attack, and they go, okay, and then they set it down and then they forget it.
Yeah. So it sounds like, you know, besides Pathfinder being a little bit more crunchier, which I know you enjoy. And the weird thing is, like, I was looking at the crunchiness, right? And besides, I think, like, raising the shield, right? Which I think is the only new thing that I really saw compared to my experiences with, like, earlier editions of D&D. I was like, yeah, this is 3rd edition. This is just, you know.
Correct. It's 4th edition, baby.
It's 4th edition, too. Yeah. So it's just like, you could bring that in pretty easily to 5e. But
it's already what I was doing. My 5th edition games are basically Pathfinder games with the amount of bullshit that I load onto my monsters, where I go, hey, this monster has an aura that they produce, and when they're bloodied, not only do they gain an AP, they gain an action point, which is a 4th edition thing. Their aura expands by 50 feet, and it does this, and this. And they go, what does that condition do? I was like, oh, you don't got to worry about that. And that's a 4th edition condition.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it.
That. I'm going to track that for you. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Like I made Lareth the Beautiful, which is an iconic TSR bad guy. And I just borrowed him straight up from 4th edition, and he has a bunch of really cool shit that you basically have to homebrew to make him fit in 5th edition.
Yeah. Look, man. I mean, I love that people are starting to shop around and look around a little bit, you know, and see what else is out there, and then 100%. Also begin to take things, because, like I mentioned before, you know, we'll see what they like. And once the monster manual comes out, which I'm hoping we should be getting here. I should be getting here in the next week or two. Nice. Because I heard they like lycanthropy kind of changed a little bit. Some people like my Discord were talking about it. And where essentially it almost sounds like if you are 0 hit points, knock 0 hit points with lycanthropy, you become a werewolf that the DM controls, or I don't know. I don't know. I have to look at that shit.
I mean, that's technically how they kind of rule it in the base module, like the base game.
Oh, really?
Is that monster, like werewolves and vampires, if you become that, your DM just takes your character sheet. Like, because they tell you, hey, this is a considerable amount of power that you are giving a PC.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do that, you need to understand that you're basically raising that level, and it's easier to just tell them, hey, that's now a monster. That's now an NPC. You need to make another character.
Yeah. And I get that, but also, I don't know, like a lot of things for me, like I'm inspired a lot by like the Elder Scrolls series, you know what I mean? Where like, you know, you become a werewolf and then like there's a change, you know, there's like a transformation into that where like you slowly, almost like stages of a poison in Pathfinder, where you slowly begin to transform, stats begin to change a little bit, maybe you get new abilities, but then like if you leave it alone for long enough, then yeah, it could totally take your character away as you lose control. Same with a vampire. There's fun ways that you can go about it to really build upon that story instead of just being like, well, bye, give me that. He just grabs the sheet, you know, like.
Now, I love being like, hey, guess what, chuckle fucks?
Yeah.
You're a monster now. Like, you got to reconcile with that shit. And there's something inside you that wants to get out.
Yep.
You are going to be a detriment to your party until you figure what the fuck that is.
Yep.
I love that stuff. So I just ignore that shit when it comes up in the DM's guide or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, be careful when you hand this out." And I go, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I genuinely feel like D&D very much is this sort of like hate letter to third edition, where they're just like, you know what, like what in third edition you were able to do all these things. It could be a nightmare for the DM itself, where like creatures were getting super powerful because of certain things that were happening. And now in 5th edition, it just feels like they're just like, yeah, well, you just don't do that anymore. We just don't want you to do that. We want the DM to be able to have complete and utter control of everything so that they never feel like they are without power. And it's just
How dare you threaten my god?
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, man. Like that's what I'm saying. Like there's so much more that can be done, and I think D&D 2024 could have taken that. But now that we're seeing what everything is for this time, and also how much they're celebrating, like, oh yeah, like the monsters in this book are gonna fucking kill your players. It's gonna be awesome, and you're just like yeah, they've been practically advertising how they're like, oh yeah, like.
So I know where that's coming from.
Yeah,
and it's because of Draw Steel. Draw Steel, like Matt Colville's Flea Mortals book.
Yeah.
Basically swept through the 5th edition like tables. Like there are people who I've never even spoken to. Like my players go out and they play with other DMs and they're like, hey, my DM just busted out the Flea Mortals book. You fucking asshole. And I'm like, I didn't do anything. It's not like I sold him Flea Mortals. And that's because Flea Mortals like tells you straight up, hey, this is a challenging book. These monsters are challenging. Oh, you fought an owlbear in 5th edition? Well, this owlbear has villain actions now. It does shit on other people's turns.
Yep.
And it's a scarier beast overall. So they saw people celebrating that return to like older editions.
Yeah.
Because like you said, 3.5, 4th edition, all that shit had, you know, a level 1 like ooze that like just straight up punches your character's head off at level 1 and you die. So it's sort of like a return to that. And they saw that and they're like, oh, this is what our people want. They want scary monsters. And it's like, no, you misunderstand, Bossy. You want balanced monsters. You want to be able to up the ante. And they go, heard you loud and clear. This guy's gonna kill you immediately first punch. And you're like, no, that's not what we want.
That's not what we want. I want a monster where if I fuck up and I do a wrong thing, the monster smiles at you and goes, whoops, you're not going to make that mistake again, and then snaps your neck. Like,
Correct.
It just... exactly. It's just... And then, and currently Watsy and Crawford are like, loud and clear.
Understood.
Yeah, this thing's gonna.
Wait, what did you understand? And they go, no, I heard you. And you're like, no. What did you hear though? And they go, all right, we'll see you in 3 months.
I know they were talking about the Tarosk was another thing. Is that the fucking Tarosk they've been bragging about, like, you're not gonna be able to do your stupid bullshit strategies you used to do before, where you can like throw rocks at it from 120 feet away. That's not how it's gonna work this time. It's actually got like ranged attacks and shit like that. And you're like, yeah, man. Like,
that's not the issue, man. Is that your level 20 is not balanced, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, after level 12, your game breaks. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
That's what I'm trying to say, man. I'm not saying that, the Aarakocra with a magic bow can solo the Tarask at level 1. I don't care about that. I care about once I reach level 8, I start scratching the side of my head and go, how the fuck do I balance this against these monsters that are in my party? My rogue is doing 5d6 every turn. The monster has 45 hit points. You're telling me that's what it's supposed to be?
And they're going, message received, we're adding 10 new challenge rating 20 creatures. And you're like, that's not...
Nobody plays that part of the game.
It's fun. It's fun. We're having fun. It's 500 creatures. It's so much fun. And it's very good. And we having a great fucking time. And
brother, if you can learn to do what Pathfinder did, that's the other thing I like about Pathfinder. I like that the monsters have levels.
Yeah. No, I can do that easily. I can do that easily.
Dude, that makes my life so to literally go into an encounter and be like, I want a severe encounter. And then I look at my monsters and I compare their level to my player level. And I go, all right, 4 level 1 creatures and 1 -1 creature is a severe encounter for my current party, which means it's going to test the absolute. When they say severe, they fucking mean it. It means your party is going to be needing to lock the fuck in for this combat encounter, and that's exactly what I want. Versus Dungeons and Dragons, where I rub my chin and I go, well, they're level 1. It says like they can fight 2 shades. That's a moderate encounter, it says.
No balance. There's no fucking balance in this. It's just it's especially like after working on like my own monster book, there's shit that you have to like self-impose on yourself to keep shit balanced. You know what 100%. I mean? You have to, like, okay, so it's CR4, but I can't include these things because the player power level is not equal to, it's just, and it is, you just see it all, like, and like, there are moments where like I'll be working on something and I'll be like, trying really hard to like make sure we're balanced and shit. But then there are other times where I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like it doesn't have to be that precise because the system doesn't care if you're like over here or way the fuck. It doesn't fucking matter. And it's just D&D on its own has quite literally become this system where like it pretends to be a system, like it's just it is they just D&D 5e, and we'll see in 2024 as well, is the illusion of a balanced system.
Interesting.
And at the end of the day, if you follow it, you'll be fine. But then once you start looking out the boundaries a little bit, you go, well, I could have also done this, and it still would have been fine. Like, it's, oh my God.
That is a very interesting way to sort of look at it. I hadn't considered the idea that, like, you're sort of sitting there rubbing your chin being like, okay, well, it says it's balanced. And then I can't say I haven't done that because I've ran into many, many situations where I'm like, I go to a calculator and I'm like, it's telling me that this is a balanced encounter. And then my party dies. And I go, okay, but you said it was balanced. Like, balanced for what?
Well, also, they don't really tell you, like, what, like, because also another thing is, like, D&D, and especially in 2024, kind of has this sort of like mentality of like, should I use magic items? And it's just like, why is that a question?
Yeah, that is a great question, actually.
Why is that a fucking like inquiry? We're like, because when you talk about magic items, you're like, oh, magic items do super rare things. Like, don't give them out too often. And I'm like, in 3rd edition, if you weren't giving your players magic items, they're fucking dead. You know, and
you
like,
hated them.
Yeah, make sure they've got their magical armor and shields and swords, and there's no attunement. So make sure you got something on your back. Make sure you got something on your head. Make sure you got blah blah blah. Making sure it's on your hands to get the rings and the amulets. You know, like you gotta deck your shit out on higher levels if you want to fight this shit. In 5e, they're like, yeah, whatever. Like you can use magic items if you want. It's the reason why they have an attunement system of 3 items is because they really don't want you relying on magic items. And I'm just like,
brother, they assume in the book straight up that you are not using magic items.
And it is. And it's incredible to me because I'll also like when I'm running my games and I'm trying to run with the CR system that, you know, like D&D tells you to run. And then I'm looking at everyone like kind of doing pretty well against creatures and it's not as threatening as it should be. And it's like, oh yeah, because you all have magic items. You all can like, you have options, you have protections, you have things that you could do, you know, and D&D kind of falls apart when your players have stuff.
Correct.
And that is
correct.
Absurd.
It makes no fucking sense. It is wild because I love handing out magic items.
Same.
I fucking love being like, oh, you're a level 1 party. Here is a rare magic item that you should not be getting your hands on, but because you did this story beat thing, it only makes sense that your characters get access to this thing.
Oh,
like,
also,
I love that shit.
Also, if you are a character with an AC of 20 or higher, you're never going to get hit by anything because that's the way monsters are quote unquote balanced in 5e. It's incredibly, like for me, everyone's having fun. I don't care. It's fine. I'm not the kind of DM that goes, I don't like it when my thing doesn't hit you. Like, I don't fucking care. Are you having fun? Great. I'm also having fun. I'll get you with a deck save later on that's going to make you, you know, trip or shit. And that's also another reason, because we've talked about this, where one of D&D's biggest flaws is the fact that it could just turn on a dime. It could just immediately turn. And you know what that turn on the dime is? It's the critical hit. That's the turn on the dime. Is the, hey, Mr. 20 AC, 21, 22 AC, I haven't touched you all turn. Suddenly, I've rolled a critical hit, and now I'm dealing double the damage to you. And your hit points just went
God, and they're like, what?
Yeah. You're like, okay, that's 8d12. And you're just like, what?
Yeah. Why do you sound surprised?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, D&D in itself is an illusion of a system. I mean, I knew that for a fact when they changed healing to double. They were like, hey, everything heals twice now. For double the amount. And you're just like, I just feel like, I've told you this before. Imagine a WoW update where I just said, oh, your priest, 100% bonus healing on everything.
Yeah, it's
you'd be like, what?
What do you mean? Like, what do you mean I just get this? And they're like, yeah, you just get that now.
Yeah, you get that.
Are there any downsides? And they go, I don't know.
We play tested it, people liked it, so we're just gonna give it to them.
Okay, man.
And that's what I'm saying. Every time during the play tests when we were getting like some unique different design options to kind of like spice it up a little bit, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know if the audience was just like, I don't like it. Give me the thing I was been doing since 2014. And then people were like, okay.
There might be maybe some truth to that, where there are like, that was having read up a little bit on like what Paizo did during the remaster. There were a lot of things that they tried to get rid of, like their sacred cows, like how like certain spells and stuff, like Vancian style magic was a big one that they were trying to get rid of. But a lot of people were like, it's Pathfinder. This is the system. And they were like, okay, but like, you should let that go because it's, you know, it's not what we're aiming for. And they're like, we don't care. This is what we want.
This is
so it's, you know, it sort of stifled their ability to do stuff.
Yep. I
feel like that was the same thing with 5th edition.
I think it was the same with 5th edition as well, which honestly kind of sucked personally because it was like there were some cool little experiments we could have done, but at the end of the day, it felt like D&D 2024 is just the same as 2014 with like some adjustments to like class features, and monks feel a little bit more powerful now, and so like, but I mean, if that's what the people want, then so be it.
Don't let me listen, man. I'll say it every single fucking time. If you like the current state of Dungeons and Dragons, if you like playing 2024 Dungeons and Dragons, all that stuff, all the new everything, awesome. That is, I am so fucking happy for you. I hope that you have a great time. Don't let me yuck your yum because I'm some grouchy dungeon master. Fucking play it, dog. Have an amazing time.
Have fun.
That's basically it. Just fucking play what you want to play. Don't listen to me bitch and moan because the thing that I want isn't in the system that you and your friends are having an amazing time with.
And that's also like, you know, with our audiences, especially since we are the home, like we homebrew all our shit. I know our audience kind of expects that and almost kind of falls in love with it because of like all the homebrew shit we do, so that if we do ever release like our own system, right, we may have a better outreach for that, I suppose is the best way I could describe that.
Interesting.
Because you essentially are building or catering to a different audience at that point, and not just because also I feel like and I feel like this might be, hopefully that I don't get in trouble for saying this, but I also feel like the D&D audience, or some of the more core mainstream D&D audience, are the people that watch you know, like Convention 20 or Critical Role, and or I haven't watched too much Dimension 20, but I mean, like, you know, a lot of this feels more role play oriented, less game oriented.
Oh yeah, I've talked about that before. I've talked about like a lot of people come into Dungeons and Dragons and they see Critical Role. I mean, I was a fucking, the whole reason I got into the hobby is my friend at the time who got me into D&D altogether was like, you need to watch Critical Role so that way you understand how the game's played. And I look back on it now, and that's how they play Dungeons and Dragons. That's not how the game is played. That's how that table plays Dungeons and Dragons. And that has skewed a lot of people's perspectives of like how a game is played.
I feel like it has, to the point where like when the system itself is trying to like be like, well, let's make some changes. You know, let's make some adjustments. Let's add some new things. Let's level up the system. And then you're introducing all these new ideas, and then the majority of the community at that point is going, I don't like this. I liked it when you were the way you were doing it before. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're like, well, we got to make money. So, okay, we'll just do what we've been doing. Because also I feel like a lot of audience, I feel like especially in the D&D community, people don't like change. Change is very uncomfortable.
I mean, nobody really likes change.
but I feel like the D&D audience especially like doesn't like change. Like these are your comforts. These are your safe spaces. And then you go around and then you go, yeah, I want to make these changes and adjustments. It's like, that's my safe place, and I don't want that to change. I want to, you know, I liked it the way it was. I really don't want to do that. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, there's a lot of theory crafting behind it, and like what kind of direction or what kind of thing that you can do. But I do feel like part of that, a lot of that is just the uncomfort of change, because no one likes change. But I do feel like the D&D community especially is like, no, Nah, I'm good. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I really don't want to. I don't want something super different.
Yeah, I mean, I've sort of seen it with, like, I know that there's a big thing, speaking of Critical Role, I know that a big sort of, like, everybody's holding their breath, at least a lot of people in the sort of critter community, is if season 4, their campaign 4 is going to be with D&D. 2024 D&D or
their system. Yeah.
A lot of people are like, what? There's no way that they'd move away from Dungeons and Dragons. That's what made them popular. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
And
they
then
have a whole new system, dog. They're going to be playing with that.
Yeah. Well, they could also it's a very interesting time, of like what's going to happen, because also, they're probably going to also have to try and figure out, like, all right, because I mean, Twitch numbers in general are just bad. Like, streaming, people are just kind of already moving on to their own shit. I think we're back into the age of like YouTube content being king once again. Twitch especially hasn't been doing well for anyone except the richest and most popular streamers. And I also see Critical Role taking that hit. I mean, all the D&D community in general on Twitch has been taking a bit of a hit ever since COVID. It's just been dropping off year after year after year. So you kind of also have to figure, like, will Critical Role cut their losses? And then just be like, maybe now's the time. Maybe now is the time to just be like, fuck it, we're done with D&D. And we're gonna probably lose a portion of our audience, but shrug. We're moving. We're now doing Daggerheart. We're now gonna be using our system, and then we're gonna try and build something out of that. Because also, like, Critical Role is a massive fucking company. It's a massive.
It's a corporation.
Yeah. So, but it's I don't know them, but I don't. They don't strike me as the guys. We need to get 10% record-breaking profits like every other corporation.
Oh, yeah. I've never really had that feel that they
same.
were like pinching pennies and shit like that. Like, guys, we need to cut 4,000 people from our company to ensure that our CEO gets their bonus this year. Like, I've never felt that with them. So props to them on that.
Yeah. So I feel like, maybe they'll just be like, we're just done with D&D. We're going to focus on our publishing side. We'll stream off that, but more than likely what'll probably happen is I'll probably do a D&D game with a group maybe, and then a Daggerheart game like they did with that Candle Obscura or whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll just add it to the, who knows? It'll be interesting to see though.
100%.
It'll be interesting to see the outcome.
I'm very interested to see.
Yeah.
What they do, because I watched all of campaign 2 that they ran. Campaign 2 easily one of my favorite campaigns that they've run. And then I tried to watch 3, and I just sort of like fell off with 3. So I'm very curious to see what they do with 4. Just because I'd like to get back into the thing that got me into the hobby. And sort of, see what Daggerheart has to offer.
Yeah, I tried watching Critical Role for like 5 minutes, and I just was like, this ain't for me. It's just not.
Here's the other thing. Yeah. I was watching it while I was unemployed. Like, I had all the fucking time in the world.
You're just tapping your foot, like, God, what am I gonna do? Yeah.
I chewed through like all of campaign 1 into campaign 2 when it was happening, because I was unemployed. And then once I had a job, and once I was starting to do this like full time, watching other campaign games is it's a huge ask to be like, hey, go watch like a 7-hour game. And I was like, dude, I have to like make maps. I have to like stuff. I have to prep for my own games. I
mean, I'm biased. I like my games. I like how we run our games. It's just that's the kind of style that I like. With the virtual tabletop. People aren't on cams. They can kind of relax a little bit and chill. and I don't know. I just feel it's a different kind of experience. It obviously isn't the like at the table experience that a lot of people really like in their D&D shows, but I kind of like that. You know, there's millions of those shows. Well, you know, it's kind of nice to be like providing something different for the people that can't watch Critical Role or Dimension 20 or any of that shit. You know what I mean?
I love virtual tabletops. I'm making a map right now that there is no way in any physical shape or form that I would be able to bring this to a table.
Yeah.
I can do this in a virtual tabletop.
Oh, yeah.
A virtual tabletop will allow me to immerse my players in this super fucked up like sci-fi lab that I'm making that I wouldn't be able to do with a piece of hex paper and all of my friends sitting around the table. Mind you, I loved sitting at the table with my friends.
Oh yeah.
That was a completely different vibe. We weren't there for like the epic tale and everything like that. We were there to hang out, to eat our chips, to have our friend cook dinner for us, to you know, sort of reconcile
it was
the week and everything
a special night.
100%. That was literally the night to hang out with friends. And then and then I get to like virtual tabletops, and virtual tabletops unlock this completely separate side.
Yeah.
You don't really get the table side banter that you would, but you get people that are more immersed in the setting, more immersed in the game, and now they have these visuals that they otherwise wouldn't have really unless your dungeon master shilling out a couple $1,000 for like dwarven craft and stuff.
Jesus. Yeah.
I have players. I don't know about you. I don't know if you have any players in your game or any that we've played with that like have a hard time visualizing things that you describe to them.
Yes. I think that might be tomato. I think.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
But I've also heard that that's just a meme that his community started. So I'm hesitant to bring it up and be like, "Hey, Tomato, can you visualize things in your head?"
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Maybe I might be wrong, but I mean, I think it is. I think a lot of it is like, you know, he has difficulty kind of visualizing that shit, so it's easier on a virtual table. But I don't know. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but yeah. I think that's gonna be a cast. I think that's gonna be episode 2 in the books.
Bet.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for hanging out, Crowned, and we'll do the post show for our Patreon. If you guys want to support what we do, head on over to patreon.com/dumpster delvers. Almost said dungeon delvers. Dumpster delvers. You can
different campaign.
Yeah, I know. My poor brain, my fog brain. Join for as little as $5 a month. All your bucks goes to myself and Crowned. And join our YouTube or subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@dumpsterdelvers. And go ahead and subscribe to that. I think we're at like almost 200 subscribers on that channel already, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so we will be back next week, but we're going to be doing a post-show recording, which will be available exclusively on our Patreon and the dumpster tier. And then the trash tier, which is our podcast tier at $5 a month, will be ad-free. Meaning these ad reads, you will not have to worry about it. You won't have to hear it, and hopefully,
that something you edit out?
That's something I edit out. Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah. And hopefully, if we recorded everything correctly, our audio should be nice and pristine, and it won't sound like one of us is on a Discord call. Not giving Crown shit. Not giving Crown shit. I'm not giving him shit. I'm not.
Just because I forgot to mute your goddamn audio channel last time.
It's okay. We'll see. We're gonna see what happens. We're absolutely gonna see.
I throw my computer in the fire. How about that, huh?
Fuck. All right. But yeah, and also by joining our Patreon, you get access to our Patreon exclusive Discord, where we're still building it out, and we're building it for you guys. So if you are able to join that Discord, you'll be able to do things like request topics, request guests, channel suggestions, post your homebrew trash and all that. And if you join Grandma's Garage Sale, you'll be able to actually participate in a monthly AMA, and we will give you an end of show shout out as sort of a big thank you for everything that you've given. So yeah, but that's it. Ground, keep recording. Otherwise,
yes,
guys, we will see you the next time. We should be good for next Friday for episode 3, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, I'm gonna stop the stream. You guys have a wonderful time.
Goodbye, chat.
Bye-bye.